What's going on, everyone? So before the Lakers ended up getting Gabe Vincent, he was great, right? Like, he was not like a star, superstar, or anything crazy like that, but he was a guy that was looked at to make a genuine impact, right? He was the starter on an NBA Finals team, and on most nights was their third best player. And then for the Lakers to be able to go and sign him for the mid-level exception, bring him on, and have a guy that, again, was the starter on an NBA Finals team, is a guy that's known to elevate and raise come playoff time, a guy that can make an impact, hit the three ball, right, defend multiple positions. The idea was that, hey, this guy could be very impactful for the Lakers. And unfortunately, we have this history with Miami players where they come in and they're not able to stay healthy. But luckily, unlike Kendrick Nunn in that situation, luckily Gabe Vincent was able to come back, and he's been great. Right? He is starting and has been looking recently like the Gabe Vincent from Miami, the Gabe Vincent that the Lakers signed up for, and that us Laker fans had this expectation, because there was this genuine excitement of landing Gabe Vincent. It was like, man, this is a guy that can defend, knock down the open three ball. Historically, his type of prototype point guard fits well alongside LeBron, because LeBron's usually the guy that has the ball in his hands. So it was like Gabe Vincent as a guy that can initiate the offense, bring up the offense, and then, play off ball, knock down the open three ball, whether it's the corner, top of the key, whatever, right? That versatility at the guard position could just be so impactful for the Lakers. And it was really rough, right? Last year in the games that he did play, he was really rough. In the beginning of this season, it was just like, dude, you got to get this guy off our team, right? Like, he was literally the worst player in basketball for a large stint, a large stretch. And we saw that happen with Patrick Beverley, right? But the beauty is, at least Gabe Vincent was able to turn it around. Gabe Vincent so far has been very impressive. He's been playing very good basketball recently. And I really, if he can continue to play this role, I wouldn't hate if the Lakers kept him, right? Like, if you were to turn, say, Rui and Jalen Hood-Schifino into a, Nikola Vucevic or a, or a Miles Turner or something like that, right? Like, then I wouldn't hate keeping Gabe. I still think if you can find the right trade, right, or maybe even just like a younger piece, something like I've talked about an Io, right? If you get an Io to Sumu from like Chicago in like a VU deal, right? Like, I would give up Gabe Vincent at that point. I would do something like that. I would be interested in something like that. But if worst case scenario, let's say, there's not like a trade that really makes sense, and it's like, or we'd have to give up a piece or too much that we don't want to get. And Gabe Vincent, if he can, assuming he can continue to play the way that he has been playing, then I do think he's a guy that can really have an impact for this team and would be worth keeping around. Again, I would still, if you can, prefer to trade him if the right deal is there. But if there's not that deal that makes sense, then fine, be patient. Don't, rush it. And if we have to keep Gabe Vincent, fine. Again, this is a guy that is known to elevate come playoff time. This is a guy that is known to play big in big moments and be able to defend. I mean, look at him in that Celtics game. I mean, that dude was an absolute monster in that game, not just offensively, but defensively. I mean, even in the Warriors game, he was excellent defending Steph. I mean, Steph had 0 points in the second quarter, the second half, right? So the fact that the Lakers were able to slow him down, and Gabe was on him a very fair amount, right? But you look at that Celtics game, he was a plus 22. He had 12 points, 4 assists, was getting after it defensively. He was 4-7 from 3, 4 of 8 from the floor. Like, that kind of Gabe Vincent, you can envision and see come playoff time, because he's a guy that can really elevate, right? He had, five fouls. He had 4 fouls in the Warriors game, but I've talked about it. I would prefer that, right? Like, I don't have a problem when guys are getting fouled. One of the biggest issues that the Lakers have had this season is the lack of effort from guys. Guys not giving 100% effort, right? Not playing defense, not getting after it. Well, guess what? If you're giving 4 or 5 fouls in a game, you're probably getting after it. You're probably being a little too over-aggressive, but that's fine. I'd rather over-aggression than under-aggression. I'd rather you be overly aggressive than you not doing anything on the defensive side or just getting beat every possession, right? And now that you got guys like Jared Vanderbilt back, right? Like, Lakers really want to lean into the defensive side of things, which is fine. right? Like, you still got to be able to score, but that's where you're hoping that if guys like Gabe Vincent continue to perform the way that he's been performing, right? Obviously, he's going to have inconsistencies and stuff. He's a role player, but, if whatever, 7 out of 10 nights, he can just give you, you're not looking for him to go give you 20 a night, but if he can give you, 8 to 12 and be a legit defensive stopper like he has been the last 10 games or so, then I really do think that he's a guy that can make a real impact, right? He's played 7 straight games for the first time since the injury, and this is great. Right? He's looked very good since then. Getting after it, being the hustle guy, being the guy that's doing the dirty work, right? A guy that's willing to sacrifice his body, take the charge, dive for loose balls, do all those things. You need those kind of guys. You need the dirty work. You need the hustle guys. And Gabe Vincent, that's what we brought him in for, right? That's the whole point of us bringing Gabe Vincent in, was for him to be a guy that could do the dirty work, right? Like, we lost Dennis Schroder in the process, but one of the things that I really talked about and highlighted when we signed Gabe Vincent, I even talked about it, this season and stuff like that, but more so last season when we got Gabe Vincent and lost Schroder, was Gabe Vincent being more consistent, right? Schroder, I think, is the better player, and he's the higher ceiling guy, but you don't know at times which Schroder you're going to get, right? There are times where Schroder go give you 25 and 12 assists and stuff, and you're just like, man, this guy is a stud, right? And then he'll have a next game where he's like 2 of 12 and, has several turnovers, and just like, he's not that consistent piece, right? But when he's on and his game is, playing the way that we've seen him be able to perform, he's a guy that you can count on. Now, a guy like Schroder, more nights than not, he's going to give you, 12 to 15 points, right? Where Gabe Vincent on most nights is probably going to be in the single digits, but you know what you're going to get. You're going to get the hustle. You're going to get the drive. He's a better off-ball player than Schroder is, right? He's better because, again, he came up in Miami, right? Where you had guys, like Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, and where he was kind of the off-ball guy that was catch-and-shoot guy, right? Schroder's usually the guy that's on ball, making the plays, being the distributor, right? So Gabe Vincent gives you that better off-ball consistency, and still gives you that level of defense, as well as just a guy that is known to elevate in the playoffs. So bringing in a guy like a Gabe Vincent, I thought made a ton of sense for the Lakers, and I thought really was a great acquisition, and was a piece that I was really thrilled about, right? I was really excited for. And then we just had the disappointing season, mainly due to injuries, and then you started this season, it's like, dude, right? Like, get this guy off our team. This guy has been awful. And it was very disappointing to see. But you're starting to see Gabe become the Gabe that we know he can be. And that Gabe is very valuable to the Lakers. That Gabe Vincent, there's a version of that Gabe Vincent that can really have an impact and kind of, change some of the games for the Lakers and win us some of these games. And get into the playoffs, he's a guy that can win you a playoff game or help you win a playoff game, right? Not in the sense of like he's going to go drop 30 or anything like that, but in the sense of he's going to do the hard stuff. He's going to do the dirty work. He's going to be the guy diving for loose balls. He's going to be the guy locking down, defending, the best guard on the other team and stuff and holding his own. He's a guy that's going to hit the big shot, that isn't afraid of the moment, right? You need those guys. Those guys are important. Those guys have value. Again, if you can turn him into a better piece or maybe a better long-term piece or something like that, then fine, right? Like I talked about, if you could turn him into like an IO, right? Like I would do that all day. But if it's, again, it's just like, oh, you're throwing him in just to throw him in, or you're getting kind of a neutral style trade, I'd rather just keep him at that point, especially if he, like I said, if he can continue to play the way that he's playing. You got to imagine he's only going to get more comfortable out there. He's only going to get more reps. He's only going to get more experience out there with this Lakers team and this Lakers roster. And I do think he'll continue to push and turn it around for this Lakers. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like Gabe Vincent? Do you like what you've been seeing? Do you think that the Lakers should keep Gabe Vincent? Do you think, like, you still got to trade him no matter what? Or are you okay with something where they take, maybe a Rui and Jalen Hood-Schifino, or Rui, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and Christian Wood or something, and turn that into, a centerpiece or something? Would you prefer that, or do you think like, no, you keep Gabe Vincent? Let's see how this plays out and how it goes. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.